All right, here's a little help for the Module 5 pre-assessment. What is a polygon? Well, let me give you some examples of what polygons are, and then we'll see if you can come up with a good definition. Examples of polygons are things like triangles, squares, quadrilaterals, pentagons, hexagons, dodecagons, right triangles, acute triangles, obtuse triangles, rhombi, kites. Things that are not polygons are circles. What's the difference between all of the things that I listed to begin with and circles? Think about that, and you should be able to tell me what a polygon is. Now, each of the prefixes, I'm hoping you remember those from our last unit. I'm going to leave that to you. But on the next ones, you need to find each area. In case you've forgotten how to deal with areas, I'll give you an example of each of the shapes. So, the first shape on number 7 is called a what? That's right, it's a rectangle. So if I have a rectangle and I told you that this side is 2 inches, and I told you that this side is 4 inches, the first thing you need to remember is the area formula for a rectangle. Some teachers teach it to you as area is base times height. Some teachers teach it to you as area is equal to length times width. In high school, we tend to stick with this idea of base times height. So, basically all I need to do is take these two values, the 2 and the 4, and I need to multiply them. So for this one, the area is equal to 2 times 4, so the area is equal to 8. However, you have to give it a label. Now remember, area is in square units. We were measuring in inches, so that means the answer is 8 inches squared. Please remember your label. Problem number 8 is an example of what shape? That's right, it's a triangle. What does that dotted line inside the triangle represent? That's right, this dotted line with the 90-degree angle represents the height. And whatever side that happens to be hitting is called the base. That means if I were to turn my triangle and put the dotted line going this way and say that that's where the right angle is, that means that the dotted line is still the height, but now this side over here is the base. So remember, whichever two sides are meeting with the right angle, pardon me, not sides, but lengths, are meeting with the right angle, the dotted line with the right angle is your height, and the side that it's meeting is your base. It's very important that you remember that. So let's say in this particular picture that I'm making my height be 6 meters, and I'm going to make my base be 10 meters. Well, the area formula for a triangle is different than a rectangle. Remember that the area is equal to 1/2 base times height, or some teachers teach it as doing base times height and then dividing by 2. These are equivalent formulas, so don't be freaked out if one of your friends tells you one and you learn the other. They're exactly the same, it's just all in how you approach it. I'm actually pretty fond of the base times height over 2. The 1/2 base times height I know upsets a lot of students because of the fraction 1/2. So if I do this first formula, it's going to be 1/2 times the base in this particular picture is 10 times the height of 6. Or if I use this formula, I would write 10 times 6 over 2. Either way, I'll get the same answer. If I do the problem on the left, half of 10 is 5 times 6 gives me 30. Over here, 10 times 6 is 60 over 2 gives me 30. Either way, I'm going to get the same value. But remember, I'm not done. I need to give my label. Remember that area is always in square units, and I measured these in meters. So for this answer, it would be 30 meters squared. For this answer, it would be 30 meters squared. Choose the formula you are the most comfortable with. Remember that they are equivalent. Then you have this wonderful shape. Do you remember what this shape is called? It starts with a T. It's a trapezoid. Remember that you can identify the trapezoid because it has one set of parallel lines. So see how these are parallel? And then we have this nice dotted line. You need to remember some important vocabulary regarding these shapes. So if I draw a trapezoid and I put in my dotted line with the right angle, the first thing I need to remember is that this dotted line with the right angle is again my height. The difference between this and the triangle is the triangle had only one base that touched its height, but a trapezoid is special. It has base number 1 and base number 2. Remember that the area of a trapezoid is equal to 1/2 the sum of the bases times the height. And again, some teachers teach you to do the sum of the bases first, multiply by the height, and then divide by 2. Just like on the triangle, these two formulas are equivalent. Don't worry if you like one and your neighbor likes the other. You'll get to the same answer. Alright, so now we know that we have the two equivalent formulas. Let's say that this base is 6 inches. This base down here is 8 inches, and our height is 4 inches. Well, according to these formulas, and again I like the second one where we're going to divide by 2 at the end, says I should take the two bases, the 6 and the 8, and I should add them together. Then I'll multiply by the 4, and I'll divide that entire thing by 2. Well, I need to take care of the parentheses first. 6 plus 8 is 14. So now I have 14 times 4. Divide by 2. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So now I have 56. Divide by 2. 2 goes into 5 twice, leaving 1. 2 goes into 16 8 times, so 56 divided by 2 is 28. But again, I have to remember that my label is in units squared, so this will be inches squared, and that is the area of my trapezoid. You now need to find the area of your trapezoid. Now, for this graph, when it asks you to find the slope, remember that you can pick any of these 3 points. You only need to use 2 of them. And to find the slope, you need to find the rise over the run. Remember that the definition of y-intercept is where does the graph cross the y-axis. To find the equation of the line, I've taught you how to fill in to y equals mx plus b. Remember that you'll pick one of the points, and you'll use the slope that you found up here on number 11. You'll plug in the y, the m, and the x, and you will solve for b. Then you will write the equation in y equals mx plus b form. You should know how to do number 14 very easy. Number 15, point slope form. You may or may not remember. We may need to do that one together. I want to know if you know what absolute value is. Do you know how to find the absolute value of -5? Do you know how to expand this scientific notation? And do you know how to write this number in scientific notation? So these last ones, I'm waiting to see if you know how to do them.